I'm like, I don't have time to learn this shit. Oops, sorry. Sorry.
Great.
I think
It definitely does suck to learn this shit. That is for sure.
I am so sorry you heard that.
Oh my God, don't you dare be.
Oh,
Um,
I'm just like, I'm trying to learn Canva and I hate that crap. But anyway,
yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's why, there's this great software, whatever you're trying to do on Canva. There's this awesome website called freelancer.com.
Yeah.
You can actually create like a job post and a job bid and like be like, hey, the winner of this gets $10 or $20. And then all these people will submit a photo that is like whatever you want created. It's really cool. Then you can select the best ones. You could have them make edits. And it's kind of a cool way to see a lot of people's work at the same. I used to use it all the time. It's called freelancer.com. So
Okay.
you ever do just need some stuff done and you want to have a lot of fun with it, I would just totally check them out too.
You know, I was not the girl growing up that liked to draw. I was the girl that grew up, give me a stick and a bat,
Yeah.
And as an adult, it's like, give me a gun and a target and I'm all over it. Just anyway, thank you. Freelancer.com.
Freelancer.com. Yeah, give it a shot. It's really cool. You can put projects and like hundreds of VAs will actually reply to it and stuff. It's pretty. When I first found it, I had them make all kinds of. Sometimes it's just fun to see the crazy shit that these people make up. They'll be like, face. They'll mess it up. It can be a good time.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey everyone, welcome aboard. Welcome back to our weekly group coaching call. This is my favorite part of the week. One, we get to interact with a lot of clients all at the same time. New people always jump in. We get to answer questions. These calls are also being live on Facebook, and they're also being live streamed on Facebook, and they are going to be available in recordings in our course section, just so everybody knows too. So you can always go to my Facebook and get a copy of this as well. And hopefully we can keep on growing it, keep on helping people out. All right. Well, let's get started. We got Francisco, we got Mason, we got some of our great support members here. Francisco, a land investor, Mason McDonald, one of our clients, and also the owner of a great funding company that can help us get funding. Anyone who was on the last call was able to hear a little bit of that. I'd recommend you guys go back and check that out. Mason can be a great strategy for you guys whenever you get properties under contract and you want someone else to take it to the finish line. Very cool things that they offer over there. So highly recommend it. We'll rock and roll, guys. We'll get started here. We got some people still jumping in. I love that. And normally the way this works is I go around and I ask everyone, what their pressing question is. I do like going top to bottom, left to right. Right now, I don't know. I see that she's driving, Michelle. I see you driving up there. I don't know if you have any questions for us or anything like that. But you're more than welcome to hit us with something you're dealing with right now or anything you need.
Okay, thanks, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good. I'm having a pretty great Tuesday. Just got out of my massage, so I'm feeling relaxed.
Nice.
I'm feeling relaxed. How about you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
I am driving, but I wanted to just ask you, I know I just started a campaign with you guys, and it looks like you guys did the texting portion first and sent me, I believe, the list of those contacts and some of the texting leads. So can you just tell me, what do you think would be the next best follow-up step with those texting contacts?
So what I recommend for all leads that you get is that
Yeah.
we call them and we reach out to them and we have a very simple script that I like to employ. Okay, and that script is basically, hey, you spoke to someone on my team about the 3-acre property in Texas. Oh yeah, that was me. Okay, great. Well, Well, they told me that you might be interested in selling. So here's what I'm going to do. Over the next 2 days, I'm going to do some online research. And if your property is a good fit, I'm going to make an offer on it. Do you prefer I make that offer via email or regular mail?
Mhm.
Okay, so then now,
Okay.
whichever they tell you, can I just confirm your address or can I confirm your email? Then we say, okay, great. So I'm going to do that research. I'm going to send an offer to this address right here. And then if you have
Mhm.
any questions about that offer or if we're close on price, feel free to give me a call back right on this phone number. Okay.
Okay.
That's kind
Yep.
of the strategy I recommend you employ. And what you're doing is the main purpose of this call is to let them know where you're at, let them know what's going to happen, and then let them know
Yep.
if they receive an offer they don't like to talk about it
Okay.
rather than to just ghost you or, hey,
Yeah.
don't tell your friends and family, just tell me if you don't
Yeah.
like what you see, right? Then
Right.
within 24 hours after um, you know they've received it, I recommend
Yep.
they haven't, you call them. Hey, did you
Yeah.
get the offer? Well, what did you think? Okay, we want to
Yeah.
bring the conversation to their doorstep. I think
Mhm.
someone like me, I'm so busy. There's so many things
Yeah.
I want to do, but if it
Yep.
literally does not get brought to my doorstep, then I am
Yeah.
not going to do it. Like, think about it. That's why DoorDash exists. That's why Amazon's so
Right.
popular, right? We need things made so easy for us. And that's kind of the purpose of what we're doing here. We're like force feeding them, but we're doing it
Yeah.
through the guise of service, follow,
Right.
rather than the guise of a negotiation or
Mhm.
low ball offer kind of thing.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I like that answer. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for signing up with us. I appreciate that. Welcome back.
Yeah.
All
Thank you.
right. Yeah, my pleasure. All right, next up we got Lisa. Hey, Lisa. Lisa came in hot today. But go that was no, I can definitely appreciate that. It's actually the perfect way we should start a group coaching call because that is the point, right? It's like this is a lot of stuff to learn, whether it's Canva or real estate or anything else. I'll be
All of
honest
the
with you
above.
guys. I remember, my father was the wisest man I've ever met, but he never listened to or read a book since the day I was born. Okay, he
Mm.
never did that. And I remember being like, how could you be so smart? And you know what he used to tell me?
Mm.
Nick, I don't want to learn anything else. you know and truth is he had his job for 47 years, and he was super wise, but you know what, like, I hated that answer as a kid, but I get it. We
Yes,
all,
now, yeah.
yeah, I just want to stay in my lane for the rest of my life now and then just keep things continually getting 5% better every year, and I'm great. Oh,
I'm so sorry. Hold on. I can't see you. Somebody was
yeah,
messing
no,
with.
no, no, that was Dennis over there showing us his whiteboard.
Okay.
Dennis flashed us his whiteboard. Keep that whiteboard to yourself there, Dennis.
Something else to mess with my head, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But go ahead, Lisa. You got a question for us today?
Well, no, um, so there is a person, he happens to be well-established real estate attorney down in Miami. He's got some property I'm in Florida.
Okay.
He's got some property in Putnam County and Citrus County. He has his price that he wants, and I've done my due diligence, and I've told him, look, what you want, you should absolutely get if you can get that. But he does not want to list it on market, but the price that he's at is an on-market price based on the comps in that area. And I've told him that. He's like, well, that's okay. I've got my price and it'll sell or it won't sell. And I'm like, okay, well, if you ever decide to list it, let me know because I am also a licensed realtor.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, got it.
he's called me 3 times. And for somebody that doesn't want to sell it or doesn't need to sell it, he keeps calling me.
Right.
And I can't hear you. He's currently on vacation with his family when he comes back, I'm gonna be away on vacation. He's like, well, that's fine. We can just talk in August. I'm like, okay. So I'm just playing it really rather chill with him.
Yeah,
But how do I get him across the finish line?
right. And so which finish line do you want him? So you can, you win either.
Oh, the investor finish line. I
The
don't want to
investor
have
finish
to,
line is the priority.
pardon me?
The investor portion is the priority, not to list his property as a realtor, right?
That would be, because that's the direction I
That's a
prefer to
worst case.
go. I mean, yeah, I could do it as a real estate agent, but I don't want to. I don't want to deal with that.
Right. And and Mason has some great advice here. Have you tried that yet? He says, send him a DocuSign with your purchase agreement with your final price.
Oh, I have not.
The amount of times I've been told I'll sell it for this much, I won't go any lower, screw you, and I send them a purchase agreement, and 3 days later they sign it and send it back. I mean, it just putting it under them and forcing them to take action on it, because my guess is, especially in, I mean, Citrus County is relatively competitive, and just that whole area in Florida that you mentioned, there are
Right.
so many people on there that are attempting to wholesale and daisy chain, and he's obviously a more sophisticated seller being an attorney. So make sure your purchase agreement looks good. Send it via DocuSign, have it so where all he has to do is sign it and send it back with a click of one button. And if he says, I can't do that price, say, okay, no worries, sign it when you're ready. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he says no. But at least that all he has to do, it's eliminated every barrier, every conversation that needs to happen, because there's 50 million other deals out there for you to get, Lisa, that all he has to do is click sign, and then you can pursue it as an investor.
Okay. I will be in touch with you for sure on this, because I'm out of my league on it. I mean, I don't mind saying I am. I've not done one, so I mean, I can figure it
Do you know
out.
how much it's worth on market?
He's got in his mind 25. There was a property, a in-kind property that sold on market on May 31st for 27.
Okay.
So he's not far away on market.
And do you know how much you're willing to pay for it?
No.
Well, so you need to figure out that number of how much are you willing to pay for it? And because who cares what he wants? You have a number that you're willing to pay for, and
Okay.
whatever your minimum profit amount is, whether it's an annualized return or a simple cash on cash return, find out what that number is, subtract it from all of the associated closing costs that you're going to encounter both on the acquisition and the sales side. And that's what your number is. And then send him that purchase agreement via DocuSign, and you'd be surprised how many people will just click sign on it. I mean, it goes back to my blind offer days of, I don't send blind offers anymore, but man, I've gotten, I don't know, 500 or 600 signed land offer letters that I never spoke to a seller to. I didn't do all those deals because I was fucking dumb and offering, 5 times more than market value back then. But yeah, I think just putting in something that you can make them sign in one click makes it a lot easier.
Okay. Thank you.
And yeah, I think that's great advice is, come up with your offer. And, I say the same thing. The worst case, you have something floating in someone's inbox. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know what thoughts are hitting them. I don't know. We all have some anxiety at some point of every day, right? Anyone who doesn't, God bless that person. All right. Whether that's in the middle of the night when they're going to sleep or when they're just waking up, So the other thing about having the offer out there and also a somewhat friendly demeanor is that, it could be like, we don't know what they're going through and you don't know what's going to happen. So I'd come up with a modest offer that you're good with and then throw that out there, see what happens in his inbox and just be like, hey, Bill, I can tell you're interested. I saw your name pop up a couple of times. I just wanted to throw this out there to you. I'm serious. Okay, I don't want to waste your time. I'm very serious. I just want to show you how serious I am. Okay. And the worst case, it's a conversation starter to take things to the next level.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Follow-up question? So just listening in, how and where do you kind of gauge motivation on why he doesn't want to have it on the market? And, is there any suggestion on how to kind of like probe a bit so that you can kind of identify like what the barrier is? And I don't know, Lisa, if you've already done this, and I don't know how much how far you've
Yeah, hi,
gotten,
is it
but I
Jose?
just wanted to just, I don't know, ask a little
Manny,
bit more
where's
about that.
Jose?
Ahmad, you're not muted, Ahmad.
Okay, is he coming back?
Sorry. But no, I think that that's a good question too. It's like, I agree. Well, why don't you want to list it on market? Like, is it because if he doesn't want to list it because he doesn't want to pay a realtor, that means that, he's even more hard up. That's almost above retail value. Then now I don't want to sell the property at a lower price and I don't want to pay a realtor 3 to 6% of this deal. So I think that is a good angle. I think that you're right, Joy, is exploring, well, what is stopping you? If you're this interested, is it how many steps it's going to take? Is it people calling you all the time? I think that is wise because that is a part of our service, right? As a wholesaler, quote unquote, or an investor, we are this alleviation to the homeowner. Hey, the beauty of working with me, that's why my offer is $17,000, because I'm going to be all that stuff you don't even want to deal with. That is exactly everything I do deal with. So you don't have to. All you do is get your $17,000 at the end of the day. I deal with the buyers. I deal with the realtors. I deal with all that headache. And then you just deal with that. So I think that as you probe into what their why is, you could then flip that as to why you're there, or what their why is, why they don't want to list with the realtor, whatever that might be, and then flip that into your benefit package, right? And I think that as wholesalers, we often forget that we get paid for our service, right? We're not lucky. We're not scratch off tickets. This one didn't hit, this one didn't hit. That's not what we're doing. Okay. We're providing a service, a turnkey service to these sellers that don't want to deal with the headache of doing all this work themselves. When my father passed away, we had an extra Corvette and that was his, and my mom just gave it to me and she was like, Nick, you sell it and just give me half or whatever it was. And she's like, I don't want to, your father just passed away. I don't want to walk anyone around his car. I'm not ready to do that. I emotionally cannot do that. Like, there's people in similar style situations to that all over the place. And what's it worth to them to get it off of their plate? That can be priceless, right? And that's what we do as wholesalers. We take the stuff they don't want to do off of their plate. The same thing I do at Lead with the calls and the texts and all that other stuff, right? As I take it off your plate so you guys can do what you want to do. You guys do that same exact thing for sellers.
Right. Well, I mean, I did ask him and honestly, I mean, this is just my take on it. I think he's got a bit of an ego. He knows he doesn't have to sell it. He knows that, there was some communication and I knew he was testing me and I had done my homework on him. That's how I found out that he owns a law firm down in Miami, and it happens to be a real estate law firm. So I think he was just kind of testing me. And then that's when I was transparent with him and just said, hey, look, this, what you're asking is market and you should sell it on market. And that's when he backed off. Well, what would you do? And so, yes, I mean, I have gotten to his why. He doesn't really, I don't know. He has not expressed his true why yet, other than to say, well, I just don't have to sell it. Well, then why are you trying to sell it?
Right.
You know,
Then why are you calling me? And one thing you could always ask him if he calls you back, you can steal this line from a therapist I used to see. Okay, I used to show up for
I have your
therapy.
number.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Amen. I actually do have an amazing coach that I see now that's very affordable if anybody's interested. She's wonderful and she's like a personal and emotional coach. But I used to see this therapist and, you sit down on the couch and of course, the last thing you want to talk about is your problems, right? Even at therapy, even paying someone $150, $200 an hour, you don't want to talk about your problems. And I remember the therapist would say, hey, I'm 10 minutes into small talk. And he'd be like, Nick, what the hell are we doing here? This is what you're doing. And, and that really worked. And it sounds like you and this guy have a rapport, so maybe if he calls again, you're like, hey, Bill, what are we doing here? Let me get you an offer out to you for $17,000. Let me take this off your plate, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's, Mason, to your point, that's probably what I would, I know you're just throwing a number out there, Nick, but probably right around there, so you're not far off.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
something that, everybody can, make money on in a sense. But, Mason and Francisco, if you guys want to crack at Joy's question, she also asked about maybe questions that we could ask that would help determine what not their necessarily reason why, but like, why don't you want to sell with the realtor? If you have this full price opportunity and it's just a one button away, why aren't we going there? So do you guys have anything for Joy before we move on?
I think just quickly, it's elimination of fear or finding the pain point of frustration with previous realtors. Of no offense to any realtors in the room, Lisa. I have realtors that have lost me lots and lots and lots of money, and they're very painful to work with, and they don't call me back. That's one of the challenges of working in 50 markets in the country. And I mean, my first realtor when I was buying my first house was just the worst. We had a budget, we had an area that we were looking at, and she kept sending us houses out of our budget, not in an area. So if you have these experiences, it's going to taint your view of the entire profession, because we have a tendency as humans to just generalize. That's what pattern recognition is. It's what allows us to, be more intelligent than other species. But regardless of that, I think that avoidance or elimination of fear in the transaction is something that is one of the most powerful. One of the most powerful people on my team, regardless of the state that I operate in, is either my closing attorney or title rep. I send my title companies food. When I come in, like, I treat them like the kings and queens that they are, because I put them on my marketing material. I send letters out saying, call Tracy Stowell at Fidelity National Title Company in Woodland Park. And that girl, I know everything about her life, and she knows everything about mine. And she will tell all of these sellers, Mason is the best to work with. I work with him all the time. He will close. And having those people on your team makes it so where you can reduce that fear of legitimacy, because they can look up the title companies or title attorneys and say, okay, this isn't just some, random person that's on the internet trying to scam me. Scamming is up constantly. And a lot of the people that we work with are older, and so they get scammed all the time. So that's the very roundabout way of answering the question of put your title company on your marketing material and say, call them, and they'll be able to help eliminate that fear component.
Piggyback on Mason's point, even if you haven't done any business with the title company, formulate like a reference sheet and have people, vouch for your character, your work ethic. Very similar idea, right? If you haven't got a chance to build a relationship with the title company or title reps, come up with a reference sheet. And then that way, if they ever have any questions or want to do like some background research on you, you have a list of people that even if it's like work related or you've done business with, have a reference sheet of people that you've done business with, and then just have them reach out. And then he'll probably get back to you and go forward like that. And then as far as from a sales side, if you want to ask some questions about uncovering motivation, I would just say, let's just play the game of process of elimination, right? I would ask him, is this your first time trying to sell the property? If this is not your first time, or this is your first time, what do you want? What does that transaction look like? Obviously, outside of me just giving you money and you giving over title, what does that look like? And then just go down all of the options. You want option A, you want to put it on the market? No. Option B, you want a cash offer? No. Option C, you want to do seller finance? And go down all of the list of options that he has. And then if he says no to all of them, now you just ask them, well, we went through all of the options that are on the table. What is there left? What else would you like to, what other options would you like to explore? And then just, play process of elimination from a sales perspective.
I think that's great. And this also could be a great one to cut your teeth on trying out owner financing as well. You know, that's the one thing about some of these people. If they're playing with you a little bit, play with them a little bit back. This is a great opportunity for you to try cutting your teeth on something you're unfamiliar with too. Well, hey, you know, I heard of this thing called creative financing where it's like, you know, I could pay you $5,000 down for the property and then I could pay you the X amount over the next 100 months or whatever it is. And, you know, you work on those other kinds of, just like with business owners, right? With my clients with the most rapport, I test new products, right? And so in your sense, it sounds like you have a great relationship with this guy too. And it's a unique one. Well, feel free to test those waters a little bit. Like, hey, you know, I don't normally do this, but we seem to know each other good enough now, Bob. So I just want to talk to you about this one strategy. And I think that's a great time for us. It's like learning in a zone of comfort still, right? There's not less risk. You don't have to deal anyways. And I was on with the Polites yesterday in one of their mastermind coaching groups, and it was really cool. And, you know, what we don't realize is when the seller sees how hard we're trying, it makes them want to work with us. And that's something that really does count, right? So even if we take them down, I've tried out of this thing. I was working with my partner, we just couldn't figure, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm doing the best I can. They can tell when you're doing the best you can. So it's like putting forth effort towards a deal is building rapport. Okay, so I just want to share that with you guys too. So even if you go down a pathway and it's a dead end, don't beat yourself up. They saw your effort. They see, just like with my clients, we meet after a campaign, the results aren't great. They don't pummel me into a pound of dust. I'm right here. Yeah, let's talk about it. Great. Well, here's some adjustments I could make. So, showing up and they can see how hard I'm trying to ensure their satisfaction. So I just want to touch on that extra point of brownie points as well, because I love my brownie points. I could have been a teacher's pet. I was not, okay, by any means. Could have been, but was not. All right, Sherry, you're up next. You got any questions for us today, Sherry?
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you
Good.
for listening.
I don't have any pressing questions. I'm just so glad I made it to this group finally. It's so hard in the summer. I don't know what happens, but anyway, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple of really good leads from my last campaign and they worked out well. I had 2 closings and I've got 2 now that I'm working on. So things are good. Just plugging along.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You make it sound easy. You're like, yeah, this magical bird just dropped these deals off at my doorstep.
Kind of like that. But I'm finding that for me, it's easier if I do the small package, and that's what I've been doing. And it's just the right size for where I'm at right now. I've slowed down a little bit and I'm just doing, I love that size of that. I forget what the name of that small pack. Yeah, shotgun. And I just get, actually I've had quite a few leads from you guys, even on that package. So it's kept me really busy. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
No, I love that. And I think, pacing yourself, when people ask me what package should they buy, I normally say whatever respects your bandwidth and your budget the most, right? Because we all want the most leads, but with land, it can really get we can get a lot of leads. So, we do have to taper that a little bit. So I think you're doing the perfect right thing. If you're taking them at a good pace, it allows it to, now it makes sense. That's how you made it sound easy. And your rebuttal was, well, yeah, I'm pacing myself. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's a perfect plan. We didn't even come up with that one together. So no, I think that's a good advice. And Francisco brought up too, that we should almost like put on the packages how much to expect. Like if you bought this monthly, you could expect, 1 closing a month. If you bought this monthly, you could expect 3 closings, because with land, we are seeing it is much more predictable than houses. Houses can be really hot or cold. Land just seems hot or still really warm, most of their leads. And so it's almost more predictable, the outcomes that we see. But that's awesome. Congratulations. And, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, Doug, you're up next. You're good?
No, I'm good. Still same struggles. Little family tragedy here, so I'm just kind of in a holding pattern.
Sure, sure. Well, yeah, and if you need anything, we're here for you as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, guys, and Mason just jumped out. Mason's awesome. He also dropped a message in the chat that kind of introduced him a little bit if you weren't on last week's call. He's a plethora of information. He was the CEO of a hospital before he did land investing. Then he hired us. He closed a bunch of deals, and now he's one of our biggest clients, and he actually opened up that company in the chat called gupland.com. And now they offer land funding, and they'll actually take your deals and help them across the finish line. They just take an equity percentage of whatever profits, and then they give you the rest. So if you guys are just getting leads and properties under contract, he's a great strategy to just dispo it out. They do take a chunk, but you could just go right back to more leads rather than hunting for buyers or struggling anything there. So Mason's awesome. He jumps in here voluntarily just because he's got a big heart. I never even asked him to, and he's like, can I show up weekly? I'd love to add value. Love that about that guy. So just wanted to give him a little plug. And if anyone has any questions too, and your video's not on, feel free to raise your hand. I think that there's like a react emoji maybe at the bottom. Yeah, there it is. If you click the react button, you could hit raise hand. If you guys do have questions, I don't want to accidentally have someone with a pressing question and we don't get to them before time ends. So please make sure you use that feature so we can get you guys called on. And then
Nick, I got a question.
Okay, go ahead, Dennis.
You're a systems guy, so I wanted to ask you, what is your most important system you think we need to have that you think would be most important?
Yeah. So I think the most important, I think you guys should, I'm a huge fan of building the plane while it's flying. Okay. So in my opinion, your most important system is whatever comes next after us. So on the group coaching I was on last night for the Polites, which I'm gonna try to get a recording for everybody. It was really good. But on that group coaching, I brought up that getting the leads now under contract is our next biggest problem, and creating a process around that. And processes aren't something that we create and maybe revisit. Processes are something that when we create it, we absolutely have to follow it, and my team members, and I've got a couple on this call, I'm working with one, and at first, after you create a process, you have to micromanage it. You have to. It has to be 3 weeks of daily check-ins. Okay, so more important of a question is find your next bottleneck in your business after we generate the lead. And then that is the process that you need. That's the most pressing process you need. Then when you create that process, and in my case, it would be calling the leads, sending the contracts, running the comps, and then dispoing it, right? In a sense. So that, in my opinion, would be your next biggest process, which is why my onboarding course actually focuses on that, because I think you guys have to solidify that post-lead process. And then when you create that, no matter what your process is, no matter what you like to do, I recommend within 4 hours calling the lead, reaching out to them. Hey, you spoke to Sherry about 123 Sycamore Street, or about the 4-acre property. Oh yeah, I sure did. Never bring up their name. Always bring up our name. Okay. Then after we do that, okay, great. Well, Sherry told me you were considering selling. So here's what I'm going to do, right? We go into that spiel I kind of covered earlier. That's also in the course. Then once we get through that, now we have to figure out our offer. Okay. Now there's several ways that we can run comps. We can take a percentage of tax assessed value. Whatever your process is, put it in the process. And we have to own that process. And the reason why we own that process is because we can't tell if it's working or not if we don't own it. Right? So often what we do is we'll create something. I'll create a 10-step process. We do 5 steps. I'll never know if that process works ever in a million years. Even if I did 9 out of 10 steps, I still would not know if that process works. I'm not doing it right. So what you then do is you got your issue, you create the process, and then you comb through the process. This becomes your Bible. this fictitious process I'm holding here in my hands. This becomes your Bible, and then we only improve the process. And my company, I do the same thing. I have all these documents lined up, and they have micro steps to them. So one big step, and then the exact process on how to complete it. And even today, we upgraded one of our steps. So like for custom scripts, or if a client is in a different industry and they want a customized script, they were just sending it back to us, right? And then I added in a step that someone needs to review the script and we need to send them a formatted process. Right now, we were formatting it all afterward. It's driving us mad, right? But it's like, let's now in the new process, send them the formatted script. So we already had all the points. We just added to the top of the process, send them a formatted script to edit. So the process never changes. It only improves. So I think that that's the most important thing. We create a process, then we see what's not working, we remove what's not working, and we improve the process as we go. And I'll finish the other point. We call them up within 4 hours. Then we say their spiel, we let them know that we're going to make an offer after we do online research. We're going to ask them if they want, how they want to receive the offer, email or direct mail. We're going to prepare them emotionally on what to do if they don't like the offer. That's why I say at the end, hey, give me a call if you have any questions or if we're close on price. Okay, that's one phase. Then we get off the phone. Now we got to make sure that offer hits their inbox, right? That's a whole nother phase. Now we have phase 2. Who's doing the comps? How are we coming up with our offer? I don't care how you do it. Tax assessed value percentage, retail value percentage, run property comps, whatever you want to do. Stick to it. Do it and stick to it until you see a reason to change it. Then you find the way to get your offer. This is how I get my offer. We now have to get that into DocuSign. We have to get that into a contract. We have to get it printed out, and we have to get it to the homeowner. How did they say? Email or direct mail? Now we go back to that process. Now it's out there. So now that's phase 2 of the process. All right. Phase 3 begins. What happens after they get the contract? That's your phase 3, which is why even I throw in there as well. Within 24 hours after you know they've received it, not you sent it. Those are 2 different things. On DocuSign, it will tell you if they open the email. All right. On regular mail, you can get like a certified you can make them sign for it. You can do all kinds of stuff on the mailing system. So after you know they've received it, not you sent it, then you call them for a follow-up touch to figure out where their head's at. So that's a system I would create, but I also wanted to add in there the fundamentals of creating a process and making sure you respect it. My team can attest, I go nuts when something new gets created because, and I'm sure like, why is he messaging me about this? But it's because if we don't follow it, we cannot start improving upon it yet. And we have to start to make it better. And if it's fractioned, then I can't start making it better because you can't make something better if you're not following the whole thing, right? We don't even know what we're making better. So those are some of the fundamentals behind that. And that's, I think, what I would say without knowing your businesses individually, what I would make my priority. Is that good? All right, great. And then Ahmed, are you good with that, Dennis? Does that answer your question for you?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, you went really provided a lot of value there.
Yeah, I
It's a
kind of
big question because there's a lot of moving parts. You got acquisitions, you got dispo. So it was a very broad question, but thank you.
Yeah, I know, and you're welcome. And then to even keep going just for a second, think about it kind of like in phases, like I mentioned, your call, comp and contract, post-contract sent, and then post-contract signed, right? So now what I just covered for you guys is the entire lead to post-contract sent. Now, you guys, dispo technically is post-contract signed. Okay, so then they signed it. Then we have to, is this an MLS deal? Is this a cash buyer deal? Is this a builder deal? Right? Then we evaluate the lead on the back half. Now, I don't know if you've seen my land investing course. I don't piece all this together in SOPs, but I do address all of the stuff I'm talking about in depth. But I see through your question, something really cool I could do is I could watch that video and be like, wow, let's actually map a process here, right? Like a step-by-step process, because I do have all this, but it's not mapped, right? It's just me talking at a screen, just like I am right now. But Dennis, I might revisit those and see if I can create actual SOPs as well. I think that'd be taking it to the next level.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thanks for asking. This would be a question for Francisco. How do you value and deal with quit claim deed property? Now, if I'm not mistaken, a quit claim deed is someone's on the deed and then the owner died. Is that right?
Well, yeah, it can be sometimes, but normally the quitclaim deeds they're like popular if like for inter-family transfer. So let's just say like your dad passed away or your mom passed away, some family members will just quitclaim the property to the next of kin or something like that. Or if you're doing business with like a friend or a family member, some people use a quitclaim deed to just say like, hey, here's the deed, let me just send it over to you. Most people, if they're selling like real estate for like super cheap, they'll just do a quitclaim deed. And most of the times quitclaim deeds don't have to, they're not like associated with like a title search or anything like that. So it's just more like back in the day, it was very common for people to just like, hey, here's a piece of paper, give me the cash, here's the title to the deed type of thing. Nowadays, the only problem with doing a quitclaim deed transaction at scale is that you also inherit all of the problems that come with that property as well too. So if there's mortgages on it, liens, back taxes, anything that the previous property owner had before, once you inherit a quitclaim deed, or if you're dealing with a quitclaim deed situation, you want to be aware of any title issues that may come from that particular thing.
No, and I think that's important, and this is what title is for, right? A lot of what Francisco, title clears the property and all legalities, right? So what title is really meant for is to make sure that everything's on the up and up with this property. There's no liens, there's no loans. And what Francisco was saying, if this thing got quit claimed or is in a series of quit claims, right? Then there's a chance it's never gone through a title process, which means no professional has skimmed the things to see who really owns it, how much they owe on it, if there's any outstanding liens or loans or debts, and stuff like that. So one thing I would say is, to me, that's a property, if you want to feel protected, that you try to get to the title company. Let them, they might, I don't know how that part works, or if they'll even take it, that's probably a better Francisco question, but you want to get that through their validation system to see if you even want to mess with it. If this thing is riddled with liens, it's not a deal, right? So you would want to validate this property. So I would say quit claim, first we start a background investigation process, right? And we try to figure out the things associated with this to uncover this, whether that's bringing it to a title company, doing some research yourself, but we need to validate some of this ownership about the property. Basically, what Francisco described is it's like kind of been through the wild, wild west a little bit.
Nick, if you, and Francisco too, most commonly, they've not recorded it.
No.
So to answer the guy's question, yeah, they might have quit claimed it from sister to brother. I have one now, but they did not go through the county and record it. So as far as anybody's concerned, it's a bar napkin on a Saturday night that they just agreed to. In a lot of cases, sometimes the guy's getting a divorce and he wants to quit claim it over, so wife can't get half, and it's not recorded. So that would be the first thing. I'd do what Nick said and get to the title company.
Yeah, that's great. And thank you. Thank you, Kathy, for chiming in. And then Elias had a question for us. Mention the person who can assist with the dispo process. What exactly are you looking for there, Elias?
Hey, how's it going? Hello, everyone.
Hey, man.
I'm looking, you were mentioning a guy that that does the dispo, that open up a company that can assist with the
Mason?
disposition of the land.
Yeah.
If you can mention his name
Yeah.
and his company, I missed that. That's my question.
Oh, got it. Okay, cool. I'll tag you in it right here if this will let me. Also, I just made friends. So one of my close friends is like a national wholesaler. His name's Austin Zabak. And what Austin does is he has a disposition system that's literally meant to sell your deals. Kind of Mason offers, I believe, funding, and after they fund it, they then find out where it goes. But Austin works for land and houses as well. Okay, so I'm connecting with him too, and I'm going to start all my clients that have deals under contract. I'm going to put them into Austin's system if they want to submit their deal to him. He said he's the guy that can find buyers whenever you're struggling to find a buyer. He has access to a bunch nationwide. So that was exciting, and he's probably going to come on here in a couple weeks too to do a presentation about dispositions. But Elias, I'll get you these answers as well. Let me see if I can tag you in this. I just tagged you in the comment that Mason made on how to find them. Let me know if that popped up for you. I don't know exactly how it works in Zoom land, but what I'll do either way, Elias, is I'll send you an email with this info.
It's Mason
McDonald.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Let me see. He didn't put his phone number in here or anything, but I'll reach out to
No,
him.
I saw his link to his website. It's all right. I got it.
Yeah, awesome. Rock and roll. Okay, cool. All right.
Thanks.
So guys, we got about 13 minutes left. Let's see who is next on our list. Alvaro, do you have any questions for us? You're muted, Alvaro, if you do. All right. And then Kathy, how about you?
Muted. I just wanted to pop in and say I had looked up Mason's company from last Tuesday, right? And I have a deal that I think would fit the criterion. I am going to submit it on his website. I've got that on my things to do this afternoon to see how that would go. And it took me a minute to find him. I don't know if I missed the link that you had sent or what, but I was going to share that with you guys, that I'm going to try it and see if it's got enough. The only thing I think I may have missed him say is if there was a profit minimum. I know there was a deal minimum, 20,000. He didn't want to mess with anything less than that. This one's like 110 and the comps are 140, but I don't know if 30 potentially is a good enough. So I'm going to submit it and see why not.
No, I think that's awesome. And then this is something for him to fund too, as well. Fund and
yeah, this is one that I feel like the guy wants as close to retail as I don't feel like we can get to the number that the guy wants. And so I felt like I could give him the deal to see. And then potentially he said he's basically, because I asked him, did you take it on? He closes. That's the thing with this guy. He wanted to close where I want to do like an A to B 4-month closing, and he wants to close now. And then Mason says he markets it and then you're 50-50 after, but he funds it and buys it and puts the ad up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking at some, half of something is better than nothing of.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. I know I almost wish Mason was still here to hear that. He'd probably be out there. He just jumped back in. But no, that's great. I think that's cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
That's a lead from you guys.
Oh, awesome. Even better. Even better. All right. Does anyone else have anything? We're running about 10 minutes till right now. Gene, I got you next on my list. Carla, you guys feel free to, let me see if there's anything in the chat.
I don't have anything to say right now, but love you anyways.
Thank you, Gene. I appreciate you. Esther says, I have a lot in Port Charlotte, Gulf Cove, market value 23,000 that no buyer wants at this time. It has utilities and everything needed to get going. You mentioned Austin. How can I get access to him? The seller contacted me today and wants to send an offer letter, but I don't have a buyer who wants it yet. Got it. And my question there, Esther, would be, what is the property worth? Like, is it, they want 27, is it worth 47? Oh, no, market value is at 23. What do they want to sell it for then? What do you think they would let it go for? But yes, I can, let me get Austin's information for you guys too.
Esther, if it's in Port Charlotte, it's depending on where it's at, it'd probably be around like 25, 30 max that someone will pay for it. Depending on where it's at in Port Charlotte though. Maybe 30.
Got it.
City water. But it's value. But how much do they want? They don't have a number in mind, but someone offered 13.5 and he declined. See if he'll accept 15.
Okay, I can try that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a great start, for sure. And like, even Francisco, what we're talking about, I believe with Lisa's deal, it's like, 5K, 5Ks, 10K, those are great, especially with our service at Lead Mining, as inexpensive as these leads come to you. You heard Sherry mention earlier, she buys our $550 package. I think she said she closed 2 deals on the last one, and even if those deals are only $5,000 deals, $3,000 deals, even that's 6K at a $3,000 deal, which I doubt it was that low, on a $550 investment, right? So there's tons of opportunity with land, and it's a little different than houses. It's faster, it's easier, and there's way less to talk about, which is the real benefit. Last night I was on with House Investors, and then the host was like, Nick, tell them about this land stuff you guys got going on. And, I'm a firm believer in it. Our customers see so much success. Sherry's story is everywhere. I had another client close 4 deals with us on a bazooka package, which is only about $1,000. Now he comes back for a bazooka once a month, essentially. So very similar to what Sherry's doing. But rock and roll, guys. All right. If no one else has any questions, I don't mind ending 5 minutes early. I'll give you guys just another second to throw something out there. But until then, I really can't thank you guys enough. I've been very lucky at Lead Mining. Our brand is just blowing up recently. I did already message Austin. Let me see if he replied here. He's gonna reach out to me. I'm gonna work on them creating like a link that we can submit deals to as well. But I just want to thank you guys for everything that you guys do. It's really easy for me and Francisco to show up here and share our knowledge. So that's the easy part. You guys showing up, that's the hard part. And I really love what's happening with Lead Mining and this little community that we're creating. All right, Lisa, what you got for us?
Just real quickly on Mason's, Kathy was mentioning her stuff with Mason, and I know I was here last week, but I didn't write it down. Can you tell me where do I go? What's his website or his phone number? Because there's another deal that may be coming through the pipeline.
Yeah, so it's gupland.com. I just put it in the chat right there as well. And then what I'll do every time Mason comes in, I'll have him like post a contact card in here for us as well. So we can find that. Actually, is he in here now? I thought he jumped back in. He may have come in and left again. Oh, he's in there. Bam. There he is.
Got it. Okay,
Hey,
thank you.
Mason, I think you're talking, but we can't hear you. Sorry for the fake out. You're not muted either.
I don't see his name in. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he's in his car now. He's dedicated.
Got it, Mason. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Sorry about the audio. All right. Well, okay. And then Elias just shared your link and website as well. Needs to be under contract though. Got it. He's stuck in the Zoom call black hole that so many people get stuck in. But awesome, guys. Thank you all so much for jumping in. You need anything from me, you know where to find me. Your cell phone number's on the website. And let's kick some butt. I'll see you in a week. You guys.